Welcome back, everyone. This is Dan. Thank you for joining me in Ambition, a Minuet in Power. So, last time we met a bunch of very strange and very aggressive people like Antoine, and we met Johanna again. And I don't know if that's part of some kind of I don't know, something that's going to happen or what. If she's going to be the main villain or if I've got something else that I got to look forward to. Anyways, I think what we're going to do is we're going to accept these two invitations. I'm not even going to read them because they practically say the same thing every time, so I'm just going to go ahead and accept them. Because we got a long stretch before we got this here, so we got plenty of things to do. Actually, do we have gossip? We've got one that's 14 days old. 14, 14, 13. Ooh, this one here, the shocking one, is 14 days old. We should get that going. Oh, it is now down to 30. Dude, I left it too long. Yeah, it went down in value. Jeez. Okay. Okay, well, I mean, at this point, maybe it's not even worth it for me. Maybe it's not even worth it for me at this point. Anyways, what we'll do, I think, is we'll just venture out into the calendar, the map here, and see what we've got. Researching Armand. Oh, yeah. Okay, we've got that. Got some of these other things. Hidden Depths, is this new? While going for a late-night stroll, you come across a vague shadow rooting around in the darkness. Is this a familiar fiery revolutionary? What shadowy intrigues could be up to at this hour? Perhaps it's time to find out. Or not. Let's go ahead and research Armand. After reading about a man that matches Armand's description in a newspaper article, you head down to where he was last spotted. Hopefully, you'll be able to find some clues in regards to his disappearance. So, having learned more about the situation and things that have gone on, I think perhaps he had skipped town, perhaps? Like, things were getting really dicey for him, so he just skipped town and didn't send message or anything for us. We just left in the lurch here, not knowing what's going on. So, I don't know. I'm not sure if I want to give him the benefit of the doubt, but, the least they could have done is sent word that he's good and he can't come out or something. Getting ready in a flash, you head out into the street where the newspaper and your journal, determined to find some... into the street with the newspaper and your journal, determined to find some evidence of where Armand could possibly be. The journalist who wrote the article mentioned a nearby bakery. It sounded familiar to you from your various walks about Paris. You curse yourself for having to rely on such thin evidence. It's a description of a man who might be Armand, reported being seen near a bakery, which might be the one you vaguely remember. Yeah, it's pretty desperate there, Yvette. There's no guarantee that he'll ever come back here. There's barely a guarantee that he was even here at all. It's utterly maddening, and you struggle to remember what's even more motivating right now. So, I must find Armand because I love him. Armand must rue the day he wronged me, and for that I must find him. And the truth. All I want is the truth. Yeah, a love, especially a long-lasting love, is very hard to get rid of. But at the same time, what he's done with us is kind of unforgivable. So, but I do want the truth. I want to know what's going on. At least truth from his own lips. You feel a rush of energy as you say this to yourself. You cannot rest until you have answers. You manage to find the bakery, but you're uncertain as to where to start your search. Perhaps we could go inside and question the proprietor. And then there's checking the streets nearby. Let's go ask around first. You're about to step inside when you feel a tap on your shoulder. Hey, this is Armand. We should get off the street, he says quietly. You're still struck dumb with the shock when he leads you off the street and into a nearby tavern with no other patrons. The staff look at the two of you with a mixture of confusion and indignation, as if the very idea of customers offends them to their core. Even after sitting there for a few moments, nobody approaches your table. This might explain why there are no other customers in here. I'm so glad to see you, he says, his eyes staring deeply into your own. And we can say, I've never been so happy to see you. How? How dare you? How dare you even speak to me after all of this? And then the one that I think I'm going to go with. What happened to you? What's going on? Why? Why to any of this? I can see that this turn of fortune has done nothing to dull your inquisitive nature. Alright, so we got his favor. Okay, not that I really care all that much, honestly. I came to Paris, and as you can tell by my old dwellings, had to live very frugally. And as much as I enjoy little luxuries, my money was better spent on my other pursuits in the city. And what do those happen to be? I was attending parties and needed to make inroads with powerful people, including one Viscountess Dufour. He shakes his head ruefully. I was beside myself with rage when I heard that they lashed out at you to get vengeance on me. I knew that I'd angered them with my proposals, but I had no idea that they'd sink to such wretched behavior. In fact, he says in a low tone, I believe they're the one who sent those men to do violence upon me.
Ooh.
Thankfully, my father's constant insistence that I study the art of pugilism proved to be wise. After a great struggle and several smart applications of a candelabra to their heads and shoulders, I managed to drive them both from the house. He stands proudly, but a telltale wince suggests that he might still be recovering from some injuries. However, I had no idea when those villains would return and how many of their associates they'd bring with them, so I had to flee that very night. I know in my mind that it was a sound decision, but in my heart I've regretted it ever since. I'm so sorry. Well, let's see. Please, I've already forgiven you. I'm just glad you're alive. You can apologize all you wish, but words won't heal this. And I have some things of my own that I need to apologize for. I don't know. What is it that we have to apologize for? What have we done? I don't know that we've done anything to wrong him, but I don't know. I have not forgiven him just yet, not so easily. And yeah, words won't heal this, but I mean, it's a tough situation. I mean, I don't know. Let's just go with the last one, be middle of the road. Please, ma chérie, don't think anything of it. You had no idea where I was, or if I'd be back at all. As for our present, I would never ask you to rebuild a ship in the middle of a storm. Much in the same way, I'd rather we figure out what we're doing with ourselves when this all stops becoming a hurricane. You were willing to wait for me, I'm willing to wait for you. Gain some favor. Wait, what's he mean by willing to wait for us? What have we done for him to wait for us? Of course, right now, I still have to risk going to the Estates General, as I have many important things to do there. Thankfully, nobody can risk assailing me while I'm there, but I have to keep my living situation a secret due to the threat of ambush, he says while he pulls out a piece of paper and begins to write on it. He hands you the paper with which he's written and dress on. It's a house on the western edge of the city. Don't worry, it's just as charming as the one you're living in at the moment. Armand's purpose is now available. While I can't move back in with you, you'll at least be able to visit me where we're staying. Okay, so we can say I'll do so as soon as I can, or un moment. Armand, what do you mean by where we're staying? Actually, yeah, that's a very quick question. What's it mean, we're? I'm not sure if I can risk it. I want to know who, like, what hussy, is this with Johanna? Is this hussy here? Ah, yes. Well, you see, Armand, what the devil are you doing here? We need to, a woman asks as she walks into the tavern. Yep, it's frickin' Johanna, man, frickin' Johanna.
Huh.
Ah, Yvette, I see we meet again.
Uh-uh.
You two already know each other? Armand asks.
Huh?
We've met once or twice. Armand, we need to hurry. If someone like her could find you, then we aren't doing a very good job of hiding. We have to go.
Ah.
Just when I finally found her again, Absolutely not. The longer we stay on the streets, the more likely it is that some assassin runs a blade through your ribs, Johanna replies in his soothing voice, resting her fingers on the back of his hand. You won't see her again at all if that happens. I suppose that's reasonable, Armand admits, running his fingers through his hair. Yvette, you know how to find me. I want to tell you more, but for now, I need to go. Don't worry, this won't last forever. With that, they leave. And we've got two options. I'll go see him as soon as possible, then I'll get some answers, and the more I'm learning about the situation, the less I like it. I'm honestly kind of leaning this way. I mean, if he's got another woman, she can have him, because he hasn't done very much for us, like hardly. And I mean, we came to where he was, and then he came out and was like, hey, we should duck in here. And it's like, you couldn't have like even sent a letter like under someone else's handwriting. No, not handwriting, under someone else's name, but uses your handwriting or whatever. You can't do anything. That's on you, my guy. That's on you. You exit the tavern, your mind swirling with dark possibilities and heavy with a sense of dread. You found Armand, but now you're wondering if that was for the best. Yeah, I don't know. I really don't like this. I don't like the whole situation at all. All right, let's see what we've got going on in Paris at the moment. There's Armand's purpose. Let's see. A dance together? What is this? Exploring the streets of Paris, you happen to run into your newly rediscovered fiancé. He suggests that the two of you take a break from your normal routines in order to simply enjoy life in Paris a little. He's always been rather convincing. Wait, so this is Armand? We meet him out here for some reason? I guess we'll have to go take a look at it. You wander the streets of Paris. As always, you're looking for an opportunity of some sort, but a certain malaise drags at your every step. It's not exhaustion per se, but it certainly makes things more difficult. Perhaps this is common in a life such as yours, where it's difficult to truly separate one's labor from their leisure. As you ponder this quandary, you feel a gentle tap on your shoulder. Turning around, you find yourself face to face with none other than your fiancé, Armand. Yvette, I managed to finish my business early today. We so rarely get to see each other. How would you feel about joining me for a little merriment? Unable to think of any particular reason to object, you follow him to the eastern edge of Paris, to a certain Gunguet Paradis. The workday is far from over, yet somehow they seem to already have a good crowd. It's a merry place indeed, if a bit brash and rustic. Perhaps it would make a good place to take someone on a rendezvous. Someone who enjoyed more lively and honest entertainments. Oh-ho! I have to admit, I've grown quite fond of this place. Okay, so I can see why. Does it remind you of home as well? Or are you sure that you should be seen in public right now? And do you come here a lot? I suppose I remember, I think we came here with Yvette alone one time, and I think it reminded her of home as well, so we'll go that way. It really does, he laughs. As hard as we work to escape that place, there's something nice in being able to revisit what reminds us of its virtues, especially when we have the ability to leave whenever we want. Armand grabs a table for the both of you and orders the house wine. It arrives in a clay pitcher, and the vintage is completely unknown. Then again, this doesn't feel like a place where the patrons care about the specifics of the refreshments, merely quantity and potency. A few glasses later, you notice that the tempo of the music has started to pick up. He extends a hand to you across the table. Would you care to dance, ma chérie? Dance a romantic and elegant minuet. Dance a vigorous and passionate waltz. Why don't we grab some more wine instead? I mean, I feel like Yvette would probably, like, actually dance with him. I mean, he's a fairly good-looking guy. She hasn't had any other romantic contact, especially as of yet. And, I mean, why not? It's like, you know, going out to have a little fun. So, yeah, let's do that. You take his hand and join him among the other dancers, choosing to dance a minuet, characterized by precisely synchronized movements and short steps together. The music isn't really suited for the dance, but that feels besides the point for a place like this. It is controlled, it is graceful, it is exactly how you want to feel. It is a dance where you must pay attention to every detail of your partner. You can feel the pressure of stares at your backs as you dance together. While times are changing, there are still those who view partner dancing as indecent. Then again, they can take their complaints up with the hangman if they care so much. You and Armand have been defying convention for a long time already. Why stop here? The music starts to slow down, and you find yourself resting your cheek against Armand's chest. The smell of his skin is both comforting and familiar. Forgive me, Armand whispers. It's been so long that I almost forgot how much I missed this. Well, that's because you haven't come by or said or done anything, man. It's been some time since you felt this relaxed, and the longest you've gone in weeks without thinking about the latest intrigue or impending disaster. Slowly, the music winds down, and you step away from the other dancers and revelers. Arm in arm, the two of you walk back through the city gates to Paris proper. This is where we must part ways, Marcherie, but I hope to see you again soon. Things may be chaotic now, but I just know that we'll make it through this. As you find your way home, you consider the day's events and your time with Armand. It does my heart well to see him again, or I fell in love with Armand because he was a big fish in a small pond. I see that now. And I have no solid feelings yet. It's a tempestuous world that we live in. Yeah, this is the way I'm going. Like, temptations everywhere, and like, what he did to us just really irks me to no end. And I feel like Yvette would want to forgive him, but what he's done has been really terrible. Her life literally got turned upside down, and she had to pick up the pieces all by herself with no other support and no one to help guide her or anything. She just figured it out on her own, and it's like, if she can do that all by herself, why does she need Armand, you know? Your mind returning to the manifold difficulties and intrigues occupying your time, you walk home, trying to organize your thoughts. There are just too many possibilities to consider. Alright, May 10th. Is this a new week? Do we have to pay? Yep. You look up at the sound of Camille knocking on your doorframe. Good morning, madame.
Huh.
The house's rent is due today, as are my wages. Alright, let's pay it. Merci beaucoup, madame. Camille says with a curtsy as you hand her the money. Paid 40 livres. Camille leaves to deliver the money, and with that business concluded, your day may continue. Alright, we've still got just about a whole solid week of nothing to do until the next party. So let's just get cracking on some of the stuff going on here. Maybe we got some of these other things that don't have anything going on here too. I wonder if we should open these up maybe. Maybe this one, the Jardin des Plantes. Relax and promenade with your liaison in this rendezvous location. These popular gardens are the ideal place to unwind and engage in a little people watching. I wonder if we go here, if it unlocks something. Deciding to explore Paris today, you stroll along the southern bank of the River Seine. Barges sail up and down the river, jockeying for position with the pleasure crafts of the wealthy and the occasional floating bathhouse. A merry patron of One Touch Bathhouse waves to you from the comfort of his tub. Just as you cross the street, you spot a verdant clearing ahead of you. Looking around at the well-manicured greenery, you realize that you've arrived at the Jardin des Plantes. It's beautiful and tranquil, a lush respite from the bustle and cacophony of the city. Couples stroll the paths arm in arm. Furtive glances and nods of respect are exchanged between groups as people put forth their best efforts to see and be seen. Pulling out your journal, you jot down the location. And this place is available as a rendezvous location. This is the perfect place to go with someone who prefers down-tempo entertainments and has an eye for natural beauty. It's nice to get a break from Paris sometimes, or walking in circles doesn't feel like my idea of a fun evening. I don't know, I think these are just nice different places to go, so it's nice to get a break from Paris sometimes. Yeah. After lingering a few minutes further, you head home. Hopefully you'll be able to visit the gardens again soon. Alright, the next day. Oh, we got... Oh, this one's a twofer here. I don't know, should we go to this one? To the military? I don't know. I mean, we could go to this one here at the for the church, and then we could rest on the 16th, and then when we're done with these two, we'll have 2 exhaustion, but then we have quite a bit of time open. I think I'm going to take my time to respond to it, so let's just continue with our day. Oh, whoa, look at, we got a whole bunch of stuff here. Salacious Novelty. This one's a Fiery Revolutionary. Necessary Honesty. We've seen some of these. Music to Your Ears. And this one's the one with Pierre. So I've been putting this one off for a while, so maybe let's go and try this one. Help him out. Traveling about town, you find yourself once more in a fountain square. You're not sure if you've been to this particular one before, but something feels distantly familiar. As you grow less distant, you realize exactly what's familiar. It's a certain overpowering cologne. There's only one man in Paris who snorted so much snuff as to think a vile concoction was a good idea. In fact, someone is screaming at him right now. How dare you, you salacious cur! You've aired my private matters for all the world to see, and I've been nearly ruined. Pierre laughs nervously. Monsieur, I'm afraid you're going to have to be a little more specific as to your identity. The man grabs Pierre by the shirt collar and drags the diminutive journalist closer. How about I knock some sense into you? Will you remember then? Now this is a problem. If Pierre gets thrashed to death, there'll be nobody left to buy your gossip. And then, we've got 2 things. One that will add peril. Step away from Pierre or they'll be hell to pay. And then this one is an easy credibility challenge. Monsieur, you can't kill him! Not before I get my chance to hurt him. Let's go with that. We're going with the credibility check. Huh. What? The man says, noticing you for the first time. This scoundrel has wronged you as well? Well, I am a gentleman, and I will let you have your satisfaction, he says, starting to walk away. Suddenly, he turns on his heel and swiftly punches Pierre in the gut. The journalist doubles over in pain. I gotta say, it's not like he didn't deserve that. I mean, he is basically running a tabloid. Oh-ho! Now that I've acquired my own satisfaction, he gestures generously to Pierre, who is bent double in the road. He's all yours, madame. You've gained a little credibility. The assailant walks away, disappearing into the crowd. Huh. The indignities we suffer for exposing the truth, non? Pierre asked through a forced smile. I'm sure I would be in a far worse condition had you not intervened. He shuffles through his pockets and hands you a few coins as bonus for your help. You've gained 7 livres. You help Pierre back to his office, which is also where he lives. Once you're certain that he's not going to die of his injuries, you head back to your own place. It's a rough world out there. Yeah, I mean, this guy really, really deserves it, you know? Really deserves it. He's quite the guy. Absolutely. Alright, let's see. I wonder, this balance of power, there appears to be some disagreement between members of Les Gouttes Royales and the military as to who has true authority in the streets of Paris. Alright, maybe let's give this one a try. You spend the day aimlessly wandering the streets and trying to clear your head. You've had a lot to think about lately, and it's becoming hard to keep it all straight. You feel a tension in your breast as you see yet another patrol of archers go by. You've not done anything particularly wrong today, but something about their presence puts you on the edge, like you've committed a terrible crime, completely forgotten about it, and now stand on the brink of being discovered. Like most citizens, your main interest in the archers is making sure that they ignore you. However, up ahead you see that someone else has chosen a different approach. 2 uniformed and armed men stand over a battered fellow who's sitting on the ground between them. The man arguing with the archer is a young soldier. Judging by his uniform, he appears to be a member of the Queen's Royal Dragoons. Oh, it's this dude! Again! I stand down, the watchman growls, taking a single step towards his opponent. Since when do I have to listen to the likes of you, the dragoon replies. I found this man cutting purses. I apprehended him and I shall deliver him to the prisons myself. The thief in question is sitting on the ground between them. His clothes are rumpled and a strike to the face has split his lips open, but he looks rather resigned to his fate. At least, as long as two heavily armed men are standing directly over him. What did you say, Corporal de Avern? Their argument continues apace, and you're starting to see the problem. Soldiers in the City Watch aren't part of the same organization, and there's no real guide as to who is supposed to be obeying who here. In a time of heightened security, this line gets even blurrier. The fact that a soldier performing an arrest makes the Guet Royale look incompetent is likely a factor here as well. You notice the men shift their feet, and their hands starting to tighten around the grips of their weapons. This could get ugly. So the medium credibility check goes, Messieurs, surely it's possible for you to take this villain in together, no? Or you can decide who you think is better. So the Guet Royale are the best choice for this. After all, keeping the law is their job. Or the Dragoon captured the villain. Should he not get the glory? I think they should just both bring him in. Like, if it's one of their jobs to do it, then they won't really get credit. If it's not the other person's job to do it, they might get reprimanded, and at which point they'll just give up. So, I mean, you guys can just try to share the credit here, and the I don't know, is this glory or whatever? They both break away from their argument to eye you, then examine each other. I suppose that could be possible, if you were amenable to such an agreement, the Dragoon ventures. As long as we can bring this villain to my station, I think we can work something out, the archer replies, casually kicking the thief on the ground to emphasize his point. The cut-purse yells in protest at this unnecessary abuse, but nobody else seems to notice. Nothing could be more sensible. I'm glad you were willing to see reason. Well, you were the one to help them see reason, but you decide to not let that get in the way of their mutual self-celebrations. They both give you a small bow of acknowledgement, so that's nice at least. Gained a little favor and lost some peril. We're maxed on one and bottomed out on the other, so we're good. The duo happily marches away together, dragging the hapless thief in tow towards judgment and some terrible fate after that. Probably branding. That seems to happen a lot. You, however, are left in the street wondering what happens in a city where even those tasked with keeping order can't work together. Yeah, that's a good observation there, Yvette. I mean, if the people that are supposed to keep the streets clean can't keep things together for themselves, what do we have for each other, you know? What do we have? Alright, let's explore Paris yet again. So maybe it's time to do one of these, perhaps? What's this one? Necessary honesty. There's quite a bit of decent gossip here. Not everyone visiting Paris has the wry subtlety that you've grown used to. Some are far more blunt, however, that's not always a bad thing. Let's give it a try here. You decide to spend the day wandering the Fountain Square, as it's a warm day and plenty of people will be congregating there, which usually means it's a good place for finding information. Perhaps you'll be able to find something that Pierre would find valuable. You survey the area, and everyone here already looks like they have someone to talk to, which is concerning. Approaching a stranger is easy. Approaching a group of them by yourself is far more daunting. Curse the audacity of these strangers. How dare they have friends? You spot a man who has just taken a seat by himself at the table of a nearby cafe. He spread out a great sheet of paper and weighed down the corners with empty saucers, sorry. You approach him, but he doesn't acknowledge you at first, and appears totally lost in his document. From the looks of it, it's some kind of diagram or blueprint, but the exact details are lost on you. Ah, bonjour, madame, he says without looking up. His accent is foreign, but you're unable to place it. It sounds either Austrian or Hungarian. My name's Christoph, if that's what you were going to ask. What business is it that you have here? Well, I'm always looking to meet someone and learn something new. Or I have nobody else to talk to, or indulging in curiosity. What are you doing? Let's go with that, indulging in curiosity. He seemed kind of absorbed in what he was doing, so maybe he wouldn't mind.
Huh.
Right now, I'm studying a 400-year-old church to determine why it hasn't fallen down, despite a complete lack of renovations in the last 100 years. The priest has insisted to me that this is a miracle, but I can't imagine the Lord using miracles to reward a century of shoddy maintenance. He gestures to this chair across from him. Please, take a seat. You do so and settle in, finally feeling a little more comfortable in the situation. You've gained a little credibility. Without taking his eyes off the document, he waves over a waitress and orders you some coffee. When it arrives, you take a sip. It is coffee sweet, strong, and hot. It's also quite invigorating. You have lost a level of exhaustion. Ooh. Nice. Judging from your interest in the affairs of strangers, I imagine you have a thirst for gossip, yes? While this is true, you're not sure if he had to put it quite so cynically. To that end, would you prefer to learn something interesting about the military or the revolution? Oh, Marvelu, tell me what you know about the military, or, really, please tell me what you've learned about the revolution. Je suis désolé, but I'm simply not in the mood for gossip. Let's learn something about the military, maybe. As I suspected, he sighs. Here's what I've learned. He spends the next few minutes detailing some gossip concerning the military. It's certainly an interesting story, but something about the whole exchange seems rather untoward. Without the presence of intrigue, it seems so heartless and mercantile. Gotten a piece of shocking military gossip, and you lost some credibility. The two of you talk for a little longer, but the conversation eventually winds down. He pauses to check his pocket watch and says, I'm sorry, but I must head to the Bastille. If I am to study it, I will need to do so before I lose the sunlight. Au revoir, madame, he says before he packs up all of his materials and drops some coins on the table for your respective refreshments. He departs, and you decide to leave as well before it gets too dark. So that's a interesting fellow. He was pretty. He kind of understood what was going on here. So, props to him on that. All right, so we can do one more thing before we have to go out. What is this salacious novelty? Oh, this one's with the revolutionary. Antoine, I think it was. And these other ones we haven't been to at all. Like this one. Let's do this one with Antoine and see where we go with this. You decide to spend the day walking alongside the river. Small ships and barges coast up and down, jockeying for position as they move persons and cargo. A wide timber barge serving as a floating bathhouse goes by, and one of the patrons waves enthusiastically to you from the comfort of their tub. Yvette, what are you doing here? A voice calls out from behind you. You turn to see Antoine, carrying a large folio of papers with him. I'm here to meet with the publisher. They read my poem, Au Grand, a poem in 20 cantos, and wanted to discuss it. He smiles, wide and genuine. This is a wide and genuine smile? I beg to differ. I can't wait to hear what they say. Back home, I had a limited printing, but a new run from a publisher in Paris could be what it needs to get the success it deserves. In fact, if you'd like to sample it for yourself, I have a copy of my manuscript right here. Yeah, sure, why not? Sometimes Yvette seems like she doesn't have enough to do. So, this options are certainly I'd love to read it, and I don't think that'll be necessary. Yvette seems to like to read. When she takes the day off, she reads, so maybe this'll do. Certainly, I'd love to read it. Fantastique! You're among the first in all of Paris to read it, he says, handing you some papers from the folio. You've gained a little favor with Antoine. Is that a dedication to the Vatican? Oh no. Hesitantly, you begin to read the first canto of this fantasy epic about a lusty young knight named Antoine Organt. That could not have been more subtle. Or that could have been more subtle, yeah. I mean, he actually named the main character Antoine, and he's a lusty young knight. Is this a trashy novel, guys? Well, one thing's for certain, Antoine's concepts of spelling and grammar are about as radical and unconstrained as his politics. Some of the turns of phrase are clever, but most of this feels like it's being offensive for its own sake, rather than actually making a point. The characters are less like living people and more like marionettes for stating Antoine's ideas. It's propaganda, essentially, but he thinks it's art. Just how much of this poem is lusty encounters? Is it necessary for the narrator to explain that the sex was good? Shouldn't that just be apparent? I agree. If it was good, you shouldn't need to say it was good. You should just know or understand that it was good. So, Yvette, what do you think? Bonjour. Are you Louis Antoine de Saint-Just? I'm from T. Guerin Publishing, says a woman interrupting you at the best possible time. Why, yes I am. What did you think of Organt? We absolutely love it. It's exciting, libertine, and strives to say something compelling. It's exactly the sort of thing that our publisher founded this company to print. So you'll do the next run? How many copies are you looking to print? Well, no, we can't print it. We love it personally. We just don't think it'll sell enough copies to make its cost back. What? And then we've got a medium credibility challenge, a small peril amount, or we can say, Antoine, perhaps this simply isn't meant to be. Let's take a look at the peril. Will it not sell, or are you too cowardly to attach your name to something this daring? Or we say, sell it anonymously and say that it was banned. That kind of mystique advertises itself. You know, she's really not wrong about that. That's kind of actually the case. When things are banned, people kind of want it more, even if it's trash. So let's go with that. Antoine leans in intently as she stops to consider your proposal. Would you be willing to do that, Monsieur de Saint-Just? But of course. What matters is the message. Early man wasn't restricted by society and ranks. He was natural and free. To tear down the old would only make us better. Is that the message? Then yes, we can work together. Come to our offices sometime tomorrow, she says, handing him a business card. She turns and leaves. Once you're alone, Antoine affixes you with an intense glare. Ooh. You are certainly more than you appear. You've gained a decent amount of favor with Antoine. The two of you walk along the river together for a while. He shows you some of his latest work, and you must admit that his work is single-minded in its fervor. Hopefully they can hire a proofreader for him. Once it starts to get too late, you decide to head home. Perhaps you'll stroll along the river perhaps you'll stroll along the river more often. Alright, March 15th. Alright, I think we'll go ahead and we'll respond to this one right now. We're going to have... We're not going to have any exhaustion right here, so I think we can... Yeah, I think we're good to go. Let's see. Let's just go to the party. This one's for the church. Remember, Dan? This is for church. Here we go. This one's got a 4 for the church. So we'll go with this for the party. Its novelty is starting to wear out, but we're still good for a while. So let's go to this party. As your carriage nears the party, you consider taking one last moment to assess your preparations. Let's just head straight for the party. You brush off the notion and step down out of your carriage. You already know what the rumors are to listen for, and what advantages you already have at your disposal. Credibility up. Your level of rested has not altered your credibility. Your choice of outfit has altered your credibility. Gained a piece of church gossip. Servant checks your invitation and everything seems to be in order. We will spend 10 livres to get our boost in credibility. Yeah, everybody, it's cool. Yeah, everybody's totally looking at that and like, whoa. Alright, let's get started. So here's Anne. So, Pierre's former colleague, Anne de Cromer, may have some rumors concerning the church's current political allies. However, it would take some convincing to get hold of them. Or, let's see, divine intervention. An unfamiliar young man of good Christian upbringing is in need of help. While this wouldn't normally be of particular interest, it seems that he might know quite a bit about the scandalous goings-on within the church. Ooh. A brief skulk. And this one. Forgiveness is divine. A gilded gentleman has sought out your company, and he's quite the grudge to settle. However, firmly held grudges often lead to loose tongues. Alright, I think we're going to go with this one here. The divine intervention with the scandalous going-ons. Alright. Bonjour, Madame Decaux, says an unfamiliar young man as he approaches you. I hope this isn't too forward, but I require your help in a social endeavor. There's a gentleman over yonder who has close ties to the newly chosen Bishop of Grenoble. He continues, pointing discreetly at the target in question. I have urgent business with him, but I'd fare far better if I were to be introduced by someone as well regarded as yourself. Could you assist me? If someone's approaching you for a task like this, perhaps it means that you truly have become well established in Paris? If you're careful, it might be possible to use this situation to obtain some church gossip. So this is just for the gossip. So this credibility challenge is a medium. And we can say, I'm not sure if I can do that until I know you better and what you've been up to. The peril, I'll need something in return. Rumors regarding the church, perhaps? Or, I don't take on tasks from just any stranger, monsieur. You'll have to try elsewhere. I think we'll go with the credibility challenge. We've got pretty high credibility right now.
Huh.
You want to know what I've been up to? Of course, Madame Decaux. You can't risk your reputation on any stranger that simply approaches you at a party. You talk with him very briefly, asking seemingly innocent questions about his involvement with the church and why he'd want to get closer to the Bishop of Grenoble. This process helps you put together some last details of a rumor you had heard earlier. You've gained a piece of shocking church gossip. Once you've gotten what you wanted, you smoothly introduce him to the target in question. In but a few minutes, the two of them are talking together as if they'd known each other for their entire lives. Now that the conversation no longer requires you, you slip quietly away and leave them to their business. All things considered, that went quite well. I agree, it did. Alright, so what are our options now? A holy intrigue, or rather run-of-the-mill interaction with a pious woman at a party. You might find yourself having many like it in the future. There's not much in the way of rewards, so I'm not sure. Forgiveness is divine. Okay, saw that earlier. A lovesick priest. You come across the priest off in a corner, hiding from other guests. He seems bookish and shy, but also quite sweet. Something about him feels like it bears further investigation. So this is where we meet possibly the church guy that we could have met in the beginning, maybe? Ludovico? And then there's Anne again. So there's chances at either shocking crown gossip or shocking or cheap revolution gossip. Maybe now that we have a high credibility, maybe we can actually get something out of this now. So we'll try it with Anne again. You find yourself in a conversation with Anne de Cromer, who used to be a colleague of Pierre's. While I'd never do anything like join a nunnery, I found myself staying close to the church lately. God knows they're not perfect, but at least I'm content with them. In my experience, the military is full of blowhards, and I'll never have enough money to satisfy the bourgeoisie. Of course, by being close to the church, that puts me close to the crown by proxy. She sighs and sips her wine. At the risk of questioning the moral superiority of those safeguarding our souls, I find it funny that they've aligned themselves with the aristocracy, considering the rumors I've heard about their conduct lately. Then again, I shouldn't be casting stones these days. It's a dangerous habit. And then, so we've got two challenges, one medium and then the peril, and then the doing nothing. Let's choose safety first then and discuss something more agreeable. Peril is there are more dangerous habits like not giving me what I want. Who plays Yvette like that? You know, just threatening everybody. And then the credibility check, cast those stones. They're the ones conducting themselves badly, not you. She sips her wine and considers this carefully. Well, that's true. If we're being honest, I'm a little too close to this particular rumor for me to sell it safely, so I might as well let you have it, she says before beginning to whisper in your ear. You've gained a piece of shocking crown gossip. Free of any sources of tension, the rest of your conversation is breezy and light. Anne has a certain razor wit about her that helps keep parties amongst such good, godly souls from becoming dull affairs. Rather than risk anyone seeing the two of you together and realizing that she's your source on this particular rumor, Anne soon departs, leaving you free to enjoy the rest of the party. And that's it. So we've got cheap church gossip, shocking crown gossip, and we are almost full in credibility and have reduced our peril. Very nice, guys. Very nice. Alright, so I think we've done quite a bit. We've seen and met with a bunch of people on the map. We went to the party and met Anne, and we actually got through that conversation this time, which was nice. Compared to the last time, she'd shredded, well, maybe not shredded, but she definitely knocked us down on our credibility. But I think this is a good place to stop. I hope that you guys will come back for the next one, and I hope to see you there. Until then, everyone, bye.